Hello again, friends. Thanks for checking out our little video cast here. The Circle of Hope pastors are checking in this weekly little session of 9 minutes or so of unscripted dialogue around questions that come up, and we hope that by just demonstrating some, honest conversation, that this will help people be able to also have these vulnerability moments and connect with God and each other. And so I hope this is useful for you. So today's topic is, I forgot what it was. Okay. When am I going to get better? How do I change? Ben, why don't you get us started today?
Yeah, hey, I'm in Starbucks if you hear bad noise in the background. Sorry about that. Yeah, I was asked this question. People are kind of frustrated when they feel stuck. They feel like they've kind of identified their illness or their patterns, and they just are frustrated with how they persist in that. Um, I already identified the problem. Come on, when is this going to change? I'm frustrated with even who I am sometimes. Um, I think asking that question is a really good way to change. If you're already that aware and you're feeling that frustration, hopefully it'll lead you to a couple actions. And I mean, you guys are all helping people change all the time. We can probably identify even some practical steps that people could take, right?
Yeah, I think doing something different with God and with others is a good way to start. We do get the same results when we do the same thing, but I think it's such a good question. I wake I wake up. I think everybody can probably relate to it. I mean, I wake up needy every day, and I need to get with God and pray. So I've been thinking a lot about prayer lately for all of us, and I think that kind of simple, like asking God for help and listening is a good way to get beyond our self-reliance a little bit and open up to something outside of ourselves. And I think we probably all can get an idea of what step to take, just even in that simple kind of relating with Jesus kind of moment. What do you guys think?
I think in the process of self-awareness that you're talking about, um, knowing where your problems are, knowing where you need to change, another part of that has to be knowing where you're okay, where God has made you okay, knowing where you are good too. You know, if all you're doing is identifying how bad of a person you are, and you're anxious about that, and then you're like thinking about why am I not anxious anymore, you might be thinking about the negative too much in some ways. I think that a good way to start is to know, what is God doing in me? How am I changing? Um, and also, what may be simply a challenge to change? I mean, we have things about us that probably won't just go away, so what are we going to do with that? You know, we're probably not going to have a whole different personality by the end of the year or something. And if you hate your personality or something, what are you going to do? You know, how can you come to peace with that even?
I kind of put in there, Johnny, like learn how to like the person you are right now. That's um, that'll do a lot to that, especially to the shame that you might be facing.
Mm.
And one thing I'm reminded of is we were meeting the other night with this new compassion team that Circle Mobilizing because Black Lives Matter, and kind of kicking around resources and things like that. And we finally got to the place in the meeting where it was like education or thinking different doesn't always lead to living different. So sometimes you got to just do differently, and that'll help you think differently. But if you think that you're just going to kind of like, buy the running shoes and that's going to make you go running, no. Just get out there and try it, and then get some new shoes when you need them. But I think for some people they think that it's chicken or the egg, but the longer I go here, the more I fall into like the do differently, and then you'll start thinking differently camp.
Yeah, some people. I was talking talking to someone about this topic, and they, what do you think when they describe what you just said, Joshua, as you got to fake it till you make it? That I was giving that sort of advice to a friend of mine, and he's like, "Oh, that's just faking it till you make it."
Yeah, I mean that's nobody likes the term "fake it," so and I definitely don't. But to show up, I mean that's like we're talking about showing. Rachel's talking about showing up to God in prayer and really opening your heart. I mean, I don't think that's faking it just because maybe you don't feel necessarily motivated or you don't feel like that's what you want to do right now because you'd rather, I don't know, eat Pringles and watch, YouTube clips all day or whatever. I don't, that's what I guess what I would rather do. But to be able to go to God, I mean, I think that intent is less vacant. So I like the sentiment of that, but I think I kind of just say, just show up.
I think one place we can show up to get the kind of acceptance that you and Johnny are talking about, Joshua, is in the cell meeting, particularly, but in the body of Christ. I think the church, being part of the church, gives you a practical way to get appreciated and get known, and sometimes we can receive acceptance and even joy and ability to like ourselves from those relationships that we might not be able to muster up on our own. It's been helpful to me.
I think part of the self-awareness that we're talking about and being aware of who you are, where you are, and where you're moving is knowing that you probably just won't be well on your own. The community probably won't just make you better either. And even though psychotherapy can really assist you in your healing, it's really Jesus that's going to save you. We're not well, and so that's why Jesus needs to be here relating to us. In some ways we are bad even, and I think Jesus kind of completes us and makes us good. And so even that paradigm, that you might not just get it all from within yourself. You might not just self-actualize your way towards salvation.
Definitely. I like what you were touching on there, Johnny, where you said, self-awareness doesn't get it there, but the community necessarily doesn't either. It really is going deep with Jesus and kind of, Josh, like what you said, Joshua, showing yourself to Jesus, letting Jesus in on your wounds, paying attention to who you are and letting Jesus into that process, not just trying to kind of paper it over with a bunch of activity or even spiritualized activity, just being in the meeting all the time, going to this, going to that, trying to stay frenetic enough to not have that moment of space where you actually have to see yourself with Jesus and let the pain of that exposure happen so that the healing of Christ's light can occur in those dark places. I think that's hard to do, and I acknowledge people's struggle in that.
Well, Rachel, please go ahead.
No, go ahead, Josh.
Well,
Okay.
I'm the host and you have to go.
Okay. Rod talked about this recently with the example of Jesus on the cross, crying out. He was praying in his pain, literally, and crying out, "God, why have you forsaken me?" And he used that as an example to encourage us to feel our own loneliness, to kind of feel our need in that moment with Jesus, to be able to open up and receive some help.
That's good. I think when we're looking for change, a lot of times many of us look externally first, and we think, well, if I get a different job, I'll feel better. If I move, I'll feel better. If I break up with this person, I'll feel better. If I get married, I'll feel better. If I have another kid, if my kid moves out of the house, if I paint the room, all these sort of outside things. And, one thing that is constant there is yourself. And if you want to change, the exterior things can help with that sometimes, but you gotta work on yourself. And I think we're getting there, especially at this spiritual level with Jesus. And then, sorry, that's our timer, but getting to be able to receive that from God and then be different. Sheed, why don't you finish this up?
Well, I think some of the themes that are coming up here are, we aren't well, we have problems, Jesus can save us. He can also point out where we are okay and where we are doing, changing and growing. And through prayerful discernment, through talking to others, through participation in the community, I think we can become aware of where we need to grow, where we need to change, and how we are. A lot of times it's about patience and accepting where you are now and knowing that your disciplines and your consciousness will result in growth. You know, eventually the pot will boil. You know, if you're watching it all the time, it might feel like it's taking forever. And so I think that we should be patient with ourselves, kind to ourselves, gentle with ourselves and others. And I think you'll even find hope there.
Beautiful, thank you. And thanks to those who are watching, and check out our other videos, and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let us know if there's something that you would like us to get in there. But until next time, peace.